Welcome to Build Your Foundations. We are once again taking our weekly dive into a topic regarding divorce, mediation, finance, or mental health. For today, we're continuing with our 1 year journey series. I fully acknowledge that thinking about what life may look like in 1 to 3 years may feel bleak for some. We are somewhat finally getting back to normal living post pandemic. COVID may have affected you and your loved ones in tragic ways. How do we go from having our lives turned upside down to allowing for hope again? The practice I have put into place over the last couple of years, which helps me refocus and shift my perspective, is the 5 questions monthly check in. I'm a huge fan of podcasts and anything business development and growth mindset. I happen to be listening to the Chase Jarvis live show with guest Benjamin Hardy back in November 2020. Dr. Hardy shared about these 5 questions he answers, and it has transformed my life. Every month, I take a moment to answer these questions. I have it scheduled for the last day of the month, and I try and take time to reflect, ponder, and even give myself a moment to dream. I keep this on my phone in the Notes app under monthly check ins, and at the top of the note, I have the questions written out, which I copy and paste each month. So, the 5 Qs. Question 1: where am I right now? 5 bullet points. Question 2: what are my wins from the last 90 days? Question 3: where do I want to be in 90 days? Question 4: future self, 1 year from now. Question 5: future self, 3 years from now. My first entry was on December 1, 2020, shortly after I listened to the podcast. I remember sitting on my couch in the middle of the pandemic, completely stressed out. 3 of the 5 bullet points for question 1 started with the word stressing, and the last bullet point started with the word worried. Needless to say, I was filled with anxiety almost to the point of panic. Then came question 2: what are my wins from the last 90 days? I had 11 items listed, and something amazing happened. I went from being acutely aware and physically feeling the stress to a peace which covered my mind and my body. The anxiety I was feeling as I started this exercise went away as I reviewed those 11 items on the list. In this moment, I was able to celebrate the fact of how far I had come in just 3 months. This did not minimize the fact that I was still worried and stressing, but there was a physiological change in my body. I physically felt the happy hormones welling up in my body and the stress and anxiety subsiding. In this moment, I was able to have a moment of clarity as my vagus nerve was no longer death gripping my parasympathetic nervous system, and I was able to answer the next question: where do I want to be in 90 days? I wrote several items down, and I felt good about being able to accomplish at least one of these items on this list in the next 3 months. 90 days is a long enough time for someone to accomplish a short-term goal. A short-term goal may be something as simple as to walk 3 times in a week. Because there are around 12 weeks to 90 days, one has 12 chances to accomplish this goal. If in the 90 days we walk 3 times in just one of those weeks, we still completed this goal. We can still celebrate the win. The 1 year and the 3 year future self may take a little more work as it requires a little dreaming. For my clients who are going through divorce or recently divorced, it will be harder to think about something hopeful in the future when the present is not feeling too good. By answering the first three questions, you have now acknowledged where you are in the present, celebrated and recognized the recent past, and can look towards the very near future in anticipation that you are making forward movement and creating a momentum into the future. Even if it is just one item for the 1 year and the 3 years, it's a good start. Please remember, these visions that we write out for ourselves, these are not set in stone. Going back to my very first entry, I can tell you that what I had written down for my 1 year and 3 years future self has shifted. It's not to say that what I've written down will not happen, but more that the timeline is flexible. What I wrote down then has shifted because of new things that have entered my life, which I had no idea was going to happen when I first answered these questions. What I thought were priorities went on the back burner, and other things moved to the front burner. This is all part of the process and the journey. We learn to acknowledge, celebrate, pivot, and be kind to ourselves. We hope you will join us and incorporate the 5 Qs into your life as we continue in the 1 year journey. Connect with us and share with us what some of your questions to the 5 Qs are. We want to celebrate and acknowledge them with you. Next week on Build Your Foundations, we will dive into our fears and blind spots. We hope you will join us and be part of the conversation. The 1 year journey is currently available for those who are at a crossroads in their lives and are ready to launch into a year-long intensive series of one-on-one coaching to help you go from not knowing what may come next to becoming your best self and living your best life. We are also very excited to share that group coaching and support will be available in the near future. If you are recently separated or divorced or have any questions on what we talked about today, please reach out to us at Foundations Divorce Solutions and Foundations Coaching Group and schedule a free consultation. Please share this post or tag someone if this speaks to you personally and if it may benefit someone else. And if there's a topic you would like to discuss in a future episode, please DM us. Thanks so much and see you next week.